frequently, over the years at least, we've been asked frequently, why vote? And there are a number of you, I have friends, family members, neighbors, and associates who don't vote. And I make it clear I do. But I haven't spent a lot of time trying to convince them to vote. This isn't really about trying to convince you to vote. It's just to answer your questions. Those of you who have sent them in and said, why bother? Why do you vote? And for starters, I just want to answer the question by saying I believe in doing what's right. I believe that this world is a corrupt world. It's a corrupt system. Not everything's fair. Not everything is just, but we do what's right. James 4:17 says, therefore to him that knoweth to do good, and doeth it not, to him it is sin. And I know that this world is a better place to raise a Christian family, to have a local church, and to live in, generally speaking, if God's people take part, if God's people vote. I think that a lot of what we have in this world today, a lot of what's going on today, isn't just the fault of the wicked. I believe it's the fault of the saved, the Christians not doing right, not doing what they're supposed to do. But a lot of you have checked out and stopped voting because you think it's supposed to be like the millennium, and we're supposed to have a good political party, which we don't. We're supposed to have good choices in every election, and we never do. We never do. What we have is a corrupt system with two major political parties that are corrupt. The third parties are either just as corrupt or inept. The Libertarian Party is just as corrupt. In 2016, it's Gary Johnson who is their nominee, and he's not a libertarian, he's a liberal. And so the Libertarian Party has sold their soul to the devil just like the others have. And they've got a guy who's worse than Donald Trump and as bad or almost as bad on most things as Hillary Clinton. So when it comes to political parties, I'm not pushing a political party. I'm not telling you to join a political party. I'm not telling you to give money to a political party. And when it comes to individual people you vote for, you're not going to have the Apostle Paul or Apollos or any other apostle or prophet running for political office. As a matter of fact, that's even more dangerous. Every time we have somebody who claims to be something like that, they turn out to be like Ted Cruz. And a lot of folks got excited about Ted Cruz. Well, I'd been fine with Ted Cruz being elected, but he wasn't the saint, quote unquote, in a Catholic sense of the use of the word. He wasn't the pristine candidate that everybody wanted to paint him up to be. And people say, well, then what's the use? Well, Ted Cruz would have been better than John Kasich or Marco Rubio. I believe Rand Paul was the best candidate running, and when he dropped out, I looked at the people left, and I believed that at that point, Donald Trump was the best thing remaining, and that's how I feel right now as of July 27, 2016. And some people say, "Oh, you support Donald Trump? Well, you believe he does." And no, I'm not supporting Donald Trump as a package deal. I don't think he's the best man for the job in the country, but he's the best man running. See, and that's what we have to do. We just have to choose the best man running. And in this case, I believe Trump is the one, the best man running. So you'll hear me every once in a while, possibly in our studies, make reference to such things, and then some of you write and tell me, it's all corrupt, it's all Illuminati and all this. Well, let me just say that I believe that there is a conspiracy for world government, and I do believe that the elites in both political parties, that's how you become elite. You have to be a part of it. Most of those people are part of the Freemasons, they're CFR, Trilateral, Bilderberg, whatever, all these different organizations that are working to set the stage for the Antichrist. I believe that. I know that. Anybody who's listened to me teach knows that I know there is an open conspiracy to bring the United States of America into the North American Union, and eventually to have 10 regions that are ruled by a world government, and I believe that that's setting the stage for Antichrist. In the meantime, I believe that we can still put the best people in office and stem the tide for as long as we're here before the rapture. And if you don't believe in the pre-trib rapture, then if you don't believe in the pre-trib rapture, then there's probably no sense in voting, except for the fact that you are maybe prolonging the inevitable. But if you don't believe in the pre-trib rapture, you shouldn't be watching this video. Get a shovel and start digging your bunkers and your tunnels and all that, stockpiling your weapons and your food and all that. I believe in, for example, there's another example of what I'm talking about. I don't believe I'm going to be here for the Great Tribulation period of 7 years, Daniel's 70th week. Some of you infantile people out there get hung up on what we call it. But whatever you want me to call it, the time of Jacob's trouble, whatever, Daniel's 70th week is 7 years. I don't believe in going through that. But before that time comes, I do believe in having food. I don't like the word stockpile because I'm not talking about bunkers filled with food, but you should have weeks, if not several months worth of non-perishable food items. Water and water purification systems, or at least one system for your family. On and on, just preparing. Guns and ammo. Whatever you can get your hands on that'll prepare you for what I believe could come before the time of Great Tribulation. And it's just as I'm talking, there's a siren going off that's a test of the emergency system. And I believe that test one day will be used not just for tornadoes in this area, it could be for martial law, could be for bombing raids. Who knows what's coming? And all that could happen before the rapture. We've talked about this before, that some people think that because we're pre-trib, we don't think bad times are coming. Oh, I believe bad times are coming. That's why I vote. I believe in doing the best we can to stem the tide until the time comes, until God rips us out of here with the call of the rapture. Come up hither. Until then, we're going to fight this conspiracy. We're going to fight against them taking over our families and closing down our churches and taking our guns and confiscating our Bibles and then carrying us all away into camps where we'll be raped and beaten and shot and all that. I'm going to do what I can to stem the tide. And so the power behind the conspiracy is Satan. 2 Corinthians 4:4 says, "In whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine unto them." I believe the elites are completely blind. These are reprobate people. You're not going to see them get saved and change all of a sudden. And they are being used of God, actually, to set the stage. You guys get all upset and everything. God is using these people to set the stage for the Antichrist so that God can then stomp them all out when he returns at the end of that 7-year period. Revelation 19 describes the event. On a national level, it's just like revival. I don't believe they're going to see a national revival. There's been something going on in this summer down in Burlington, North Carolina, I believe it is. And C.T. Townsend, I think he's one of the preachers down there, and they've had a lot of people saved. Praise God for it. We love to hear that. But I don't expect that to become a national revival where in a nation of 300 million you're going to see tens of millions of people getting saved. I just don't think that's going to happen. But we can see pockets of revival, and if we have, the more pockets of revival we have, regional revivals and that sort of thing, the better off that nation will be, the better off the world will be. And that's the way I feel about voting.